Ready to roll now? Okay. Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the August 2014 meeting of the Abingdon, Virginia Town Council. A couple of things I would note before we really get started tonight. One of which is that if you have a cell phone with you, we'd ask that you turn it off, please, or put it on vibrate, just so we won't have a disruption in the meeting. I've actually made a point of turning mine off. I'm usually one of the guilty parties. Also, prior to each meeting, our town council receives a package of materials to help us prepare for the issues that we'll be considering during the course of the meeting. A copy of those documents is available on the table there to my left. If you wish to review that, you're more than welcome to. That being said, I will ask our clerk, Ms. Cecile Rosenbaum, if she'll call the roll, please.
Mrs. Deering? Here. Mr. Howard?
Here.
Mr. Humphreys?
Here.
Mrs. Lowe?
Here.
And Mayor Morgan?
Here.
And let the record reflect that all 5 council members are present.
Thank you. As customary, we'll begin our meeting this evening with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would call on Councilwoman Jane Deering to lead us.
Thank you. Join me for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have several special employee acknowledgments this evening. Mr. Kelly, would you lead us through that, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. As I always point out, it's very nice when we can recognize our employees who've worked for the town for many, many years, and tonight we have 3 that we are here to recognize who've been with the town for quite a long period of time. And I think that's an indication that the town is, in fact, a good place to work. These people have enjoyed staying here for this length of period, and they're all worthy of recognition for other things than just their time with the town. But there are 3 of them that I would like to recognize tonight for their longevity, and I will call them one by one up here and present them with a service plaque and a button, a lapel pin to wear that identifies the number of years that they've been employed by the town of Abingdon. The first person I'd like to call to the front is Johnny Pace, and Johnny has been in our custodial and maintenance staff with the town of Abingdon. He's currently working up at the Coombs Center. He's worked here at the town hall, but he's been with us for 20 years. So please join me in giving Johnny a big round. And there's your 20-year pin. It's a good picture.
All right. Thank you for all that you do.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it very much.
Appreciate it.
The next individual I'd like to call to the front is Pat Brown, and Pat works over at the Department of Public Works, and if council will recall from our drive-by about a week or so ago, we really found out that Pat was running in to take care of business and keep everything under control when we got there. Pat has been with us for 15 years, and any time that we call over to the Public Works Department, she's always eager to assist us in seeing to it that the appropriate things get dispatched out to where they need to go so that the work takes place. So Pat, if you'll come forward and be recognized. Ooh. All right. 15 years. Thank you.
All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much for all you do.
Thank you, Pat.
And the last one that I have to give out, and then Mr. Mayor, I believe Ms. Rosenbaum has another recognition that needs to take place after this. But this individual I've known for a long time, and he's been with our police department for 25 years and had to put up with my dad as chief and also with Chief Sullivan, and he survived so far. So I'd like to call Kevin Christie up. Kevin's been with us for 25 years, and one thing I'll say about Kevin is he generally always has a smile on his face and a joke to crack, and he's overall good.
Now, if you've been here 25 years, you have to get a picture in front of all of us. Come on over. Yeah.
We finished second in term when she threw out that first pitch.
Well, it could have gone either way. I'll tell you.
I don't think I can see everybody. Mayor, would you move it just a tad?
Okay. How's that?
That's better. Thank you.
All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything.
Can you get Pat, Kevin, and...
Come on up here.
All in
Let's get all three
Yeah,
up
all
here.
three.
Well, Pat, come on up here. Well, there's the van. Come on, one more up here, please. All right, come on up here.
Johnny's already left.
Now, you could even smile. All right. Okay, come on, both of you up here. All right, can you see everybody?
I can see you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. It looks like Ms. Rosenbaum is standing there in a somewhat official capacity, and I'll let you sort of lead things from here, if you might.
Yeah, this is the first time that I've actually gotten to do this, and it is an honor. I'm going to ask Chief Sullivan to make a few comments, and I'll ask Craig Weaver to please step forward and bring your son Chase with you, please. This is a very special event that council and everybody here gets to be a part of tonight.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, back in December we lost Sergeant John Wolf very unexpectedly and left a vacancy in the department. And of course, you know, like everything else, government has to go on. And so we started the process for selection of a supervisor, a patrol sergeant, to take Sergeant Wolf's place, and had a bunch of well-qualified folks who applied. And I had 8, actually. And I'll be honest, I put them through the ringer. I sort of took myself out of the process, and I threw just about everything I could throw at them. And in the end, Craig Weaver, he finished on top, and it was almost like a game of Survivor. And he was the last man standing. And tell you a little bit about Craig. Craig's been here some time. He's a 1991 graduate of Tennessee High School. His first job out of high school was a land surveyor, and he's been an Army reservist. He actually put himself through the police academy in 1997. That is a bold risk because he has to put his own money up front to pay the tuition, and then he's not guaranteed a job. Well, Chief Kelly hired him in 1998, and he's been here since August 17th, 1998, and since that time he has served as a field training officer, and oftentimes he's served as an acting supervisor. The promotional process included an application, an essay, a written exam, and a 4-part interview, which was probably unlike anything any of these guys have ever been through. And I'm proud to say that Craig came out on top. He's well deserved. I think, truly, I think in the department he was sort of the sentimental favorite because of his tenure and experience and the things that he brings, and he's always willing to listen and help the other folks out. So I'm proud that we get to promote and swear Craig in, even though he was promoted officially July 1. We're going to swear him in tonight. And he selected his son Chase to pin him, and pinning on a badge is a very important thing. And I always ask folks when we do a public ceremony to pick somebody special, somebody that you're going to remember all your life. Because, you know, when you pin that badge on, not only do you uphold the community's values, you uphold the values of that person who pinned you. And so he selected Chase, who is a sophomore at John Battle, and is probably the best trumpet player in the marching band, I will say. And So if we can, turn it over to Ms. Rosenbaum
Yes.
and let her
Craig, if you'll step up.
administer the oath.
I think the council should be upstanding.
Yes. And would you raise your right hand, please? And repeat after me. I, Craig A. Weaver,
I, Craig A. Weaver,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Virginia,
the Constitution of the State of Virginia,
and the laws and ordinances of the town of Abingdon,
the laws and ordinances of the town of Abingdon.
that I will abide by the Code of Ethics for law enforcement officers
I will abide by the code of ethics for law enforcement officers
and the rules and regulations of the town of Abingdon Police Department,
and the rules and regulations of the town of Abingdon Police Department.
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
I will faithfully and honestly discharge
and perform all the duties
and perform all the duties
incumbent upon me as a patrol sergeant.
come from all the duties of being a patrol sergeant.
That's a lot of words. For the town of
For
Abingdon,
the town of Abingdon,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Sign right there.
There's two of those, if you would, please, sign both of those. Chase has the badge.
All right. So we do.
Chase is prepared.
All right, Chief is next. Okay, you're next. Here, don't take one.
Move now.
That's mine.
Sorry. Craig, you didn't know it, this was the last part of the test. You had to be able to say everything.
That's right.
So you passed. All right, now, if Chase is prepared with the badge, now his dad is wearing a bulletproof vest, so if you jam really hard, it's not going to go through it, but we'll let Chase pin him.
Excuse me. Knock your gun out.
I think that was it.
This has a picture over here too. And how about the whole party stand in front of us here? That would be,
Take your nerd glasses off. Scooch in.
I met Chase, he's about this tall, just so y'all know.
It's a variety of looks right there.
Oh, really?
Council, we have three sets of minutes this evening that require our attention. We have the minutes of the June 25th, 2014 emergency closed session meeting, the July 1st, 2014 organizational meeting, and the July 16th, 2014 work session meeting. I would ask, first of all, are there any corrections or additions that need to be noted to these minutes?
I did notice one correction that needs to be made under fire chief. It did reflect Joey Burke, but it's actually John McCormick, but the minutes did reflect Joey Burke.
And do you remember which set of?
That was the July 1.
July 1.
Okay.
Old habits die hard, and John, I am so sorry.
That's fine. Okay, so are there other corrections or additions that need to be? Hearing none, council, what's your pleasure?
I'll entertain a motion that we approve with that one correction.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, if you'll, Ms. Rosenbaum, if you'll call the roll, please.
Mrs. Jerry? Aye. Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Mr. Humphries?
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe?
Aye.
Mayor Morgan?
Aye. Okay, thank you. We have, under petitions and public hearings this evening, we have a public hearing regarding a right-of-way vacation request for the east-west unopened right-of-way. It's approximately 250 feet long, 15 feet wide, between Campbell Street and Fulkerson Street. bound by parcels 017-11-33 and 017-11-35 on the north, parcels 017-1-29 and 017-1-29A to the south. Mr. Dew, would you care to bring us forward and enlighten us on this, please?
I'd be glad to. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. We are here tonight. This public hearing represents step one of the three-step process that's outlined in the state code on vacating a right-of-way. We received a petition, I think it was in May, to vacate that section of right-of-way that you mentioned, and we missed the publishing deadline for the June meeting. Of course, the July meeting was the organizational, so we bring it here tonight, like I said, in step one as the public hearing.
And would you know what steps 2 and 3 will be?
I do, and if we get to that point after tonight, after the public hearing, we can, the council can appoint three-member viewer board, and they will take a look at this vacation request on behalf of the town and determine or make recommendations or observations known to the council at the next meeting as to whether or not they feel that it's in the best interest of the town to vacate the right-of-way. And along with that, I will ask staff members to also review it, and we will also have a recommendation for the Public Works Department and any other departments that wish to weigh in on the vacation request. We'll hear those at the next meeting. And depending on the council's wishes at that meeting, if they wish to proceed, then at the third meeting, or the third step, we will have an ordinance brought forth to council to vacate the right-of-way if that's council's wishes.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions of Mr. Dew at the present time regarding the matter that will come before the hearing?
I just have one, and I'm not trying to throw you off base, but it's who presented the petition and who was it signed by?
We had, let me pull the petition here, I think there were 7 signatures on it. It was presented to me by one of the adjacent property owners, Nicholas Kesters of 216 Campbell Street, and I believe I saw him. Yeah, he's in the audience this evening. Do you wish to have
No, that's fine. Well, okay. Were all the adjacent property owners, did they all wish that also?
The only property owner that I don't see the signature on is 834.
All property owners are actually.
But that is actually the one that's listed under here in the Clark Street.
David Dobbins is the property owner of that.
Yes, so they are all on the signature, or on the petition, all the adjacent property owners.
Is David Dobbins from Ray Valley? Which David Dobbins? Oh, okay. Gotcha. Oh, I see, yeah. There are more than one David Dobbins, I'm sorry.
All right, so again, the procedure this evening is that we'll have a public hearing to take comments from those parties that may wish to express an opinion either for or against this matter. Then after that, we'll appoint our Board of Visitors, and again, we'll perhaps at our next meeting, if everything moves appropriately, hear those recommendations and be in a position to take action.
Correct.
All right, does anybody else have a question, Mr. Dew, at the moment? Okay, thank you very much. Don't go too far. That being said, I will now declare the public hearing to be open. Again, the matter of consideration is the proposed closing of the unopened right-of-way between Campbell Street and Fulkerson Street. If there is anyone who wishes to address the council regarding this matter, they may come forward at the present time. Don't be shy.
He's often
Or please be shy.
Hello, my name's Nick Kesters. I'm the owner of 216 Campbell Street. I'm the person that actually moved forward with the request and brought David Dobbins and Lauren Clifton involved with this. The property right now is being maintained by the property owners. It hasn't been opened. It's right now 120 feet away from a already existing road, so there's no reason to create a redundant cut-through at this point. The property, my understanding from the research I did, was the right-of-way was initially created to make access for a Civil War graveyard, which is actually between Fulkerson and and Hassinger Street, and that's still accessible from Fulkerson Street through the right-of-way that's there. So this is now basically a right-of-way that's unused and will never be developed. So the property owners are already taking care of it, and the redundancy makes it to the point where it doesn't seem like it's ever going to be developed. So the property owners would like to take possession of it.
Can you tell me what you know about that, graveyard? I wasn't familiar.
It's actually where the Campbells, the General Campbell, I believe, or Colonel Campbell, who's the meeting hall you have downstairs, is named for. That's where I believe he's buried. But that's where those streets are named for: Campbell, Fulkerson, and Hassinger.
I think he's actually buried in Kentucky.
Well,
that's
the names.
Middlesbrough, Kentucky, sir.
All right. Well, the Campbell, the Gillum, and Hassinger are all named for those military leaders, and there's a Civil War, I believe it's a Civil War burial ground there.
Okay.
But it has access from Fulkerson, so that right-of-way is not necessary anymore.
Very good.
I think I missed something. Civil War burial ground where?
In between Fulkerson and Hassinger,
Oh, okay.
in that area, but there's a right-of-way from Fulkerson Street to that Civil War, to that graveyard right there. So there's the right-of-way that goes between Campbell and Fulkerson isn't going to be developed at any point. It's not necessary. It doesn't go anywhere.
Okay. All right. Does anyone else have any questions, this gentleman? Okay, we thank you.
Thank you.
Are there others that wish to address the council regarding this matter? Okay. Again, there does not appear to be anyone else who wishes to address the council regarding this matter. I will therefore declare the public hearing to be closed. Okay, thank you. Mr. Dew, I think we may have some usual suspects, so to speak, regarding trained and experienced observers, or viewers, excuse me, of these matters. Would you recommend several?
I could recommend the last several right-of-way vacation requests we've had. The three members of the Board of Viewers have been Monty Vernon, Al Bradley, and Dan Matthews. Dan Matthews has confirmed that he would be open to serve. I haven't got confirmation yet from Mr. Vernon and Mr. Bradley. I don't know if it'd be appropriate that if I can get that confirmation as a staff or department head, if I can make that call and have them go ahead and be on the Board of Viewers.
We could probably entertain a motion that would appoint those gentlemen subject to their acceptance. Yeah. Mr. Matthews is a very experienced insurance agent who knows the town very well. Mr. Bradley is the former director of planning for the, Mr. Bradley is former director of planning, and Mr. Vernon is former director of public works, so they're all very knowledgeable of the town and its resources. Okay. I'll entertain a motion regarding this matter.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we authorize Mr. Dew to proceed with the appointment of the Board of Viewers, Dan Matthews, Monty Vernon, and Al Bradley, pursuant to their availability, to view the property located between Campbell and Fulkerson Street, bound by parcels 017-11-33 and 017-11-35 on the north, and parcel 017-1-29 and 017-1-29 to the south.
Very good. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion or comment? Hearing none, I'll ask our clerk to call the roll, please.
Mrs. Deering.
Aye.
Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lynn.
Aye.
Mayor Morgan.
Aye. Okay, thank you. We'll have this on our September agenda for further consideration. Okay, that brings us to, if I can, we have no second readings of ordinances this evening. I believe our next item is the consideration of the revised Town of Abingdon Employee Handbook. Ms. Deborah Atkins-Vance, is she here? If you care to comment on this, please.
We're requesting that you approve the new manual that we have created for our employees. And we have made many revisions and taken some cues from our neighbors who have personnel manuals down the way. And we're requesting that you accept and approve it.
Okay, thank you. I know council members have had an opportunity to review this over a period of time, and this has been an extensive work in progress and certainly shows a lot of growth in terms of our ability to help manage our staff in a professional manner. Does anyone have any questions regarding of Ms. Vance regarding this matter at the present time? Okay. I would entertain a motion regarding this matter.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the employee handbook as presented with revisions. And I would just like to state that we have reviewed these for at least the last 6 weeks. So this isn't something that any of us have entered into lightly.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the revised employee manual or employee handbook that we have reviewed. Is there any further discussion or comment about this? Hearing none, I'll ask our town clerk, Ms. Rosenbaum, to call the roll, please.
Mrs. Deering.
Aye.
Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe.
Aye.
Mayor Morgan.
Aye. Okay, thank you very much. And thank you for all your hard work on this. You and Ms. Eisenhower and many other people, department heads and others who have contributed to this. It really does show a great step forward for our town and a lot of growth. And thank you for all your hard work. Okay. I'm pleased to see Mr. Tom McMullen with us this evening to talk of, give us the annual report for the Sustain Abingdon Committee. Mr. McMullen, again, good to see you, and how are things going with it?
Pretty well, pretty well. Sustain Abingdon has been doing a lot this last year, so I got a lot to report. I'll try to get through it relatively quickly. But if you've already read the report, you know that it's 8 pages long or something like that.
Very thorough.
Yes, yes. Okay. This past year has brought many structural changes to our committee. The mission statement was amended and approved. The bylaws were amended to reduce the number of voting members, and this was done so that we could have a quorum present more often. We were having troubles with that, and now that problem solved. The regular monthly meetings were changed to quarterly meetings, and instead we've created 3 subcommittees. These committees are the Events Committee, Communication Committee, Subcommittee, and the Policy Government Relations Subcommittee. I'll tell you more about what those did here in just a second. Rebecca Mooney attended each of these meetings to make sure we stayed on task and in target with the committee's goals. The 3 subcommittees have contributed the following. The Events Subcommittee, the purpose of this subcommittee is to conceptualize and organize SAC-supported events that meet the mission of the committee. The big thing that we do every year, amongst other things, is Earth Day. This year, Earth Day, we decided something different, which was to start having themes for Earth Day to try to make it a little bit different at each event. That way people coming back would see something unique every time. This year we had at least 2,000 people attend the event, so it continues to grow in size. We also collected 50 pairs of shoes, 286 pounds of food for the food bank, 7,675 pounds of e-waste, electronic waste. We sold 19 rain barrels and also had $422 in t-shirt sales. This was the first year we had local businesses sponsor, and the total for that was $1,350, so we earned a little money that way. The event was recognized by Virginia Green. So here's the certificate, if you want to take a look. And we've also decided in 2015 the Earth Day theme would be land and soil. The second events subcommittee event that we have planned is the stream cleanup. We had one last fall, and we're planning one October 25th of this year. Our cleanup last year was recognized by the Clean Virginia Waterways. So here's another one to send down the line. Where do all these go? It's like a wall that... Recycled. They get recycled, okay. Well, they look good. Okay. The third thing that we have going on this year with the events subcommittee was we made plan for America Recycles Day. That's going to be November 15th from 9 to 1 in the municipal parking lot next to the police station. We will have a document shredder, collect e-waste, have used clothing and shoes being collected, while MXI will collect household hazardous waste. And then finally, the events subcommittee plans to work with EHC, Emory-Henry College, their Lyceum program, and the Arts Array to show a movie named Tapped at the Cinema. The Communications Subcommittee is charged with communicating the mission of the group to the community. This group creates avenues to broadcast and advertise events hosted by the SAC, as well as other events that fit in with the mission of the committee. They also create publicity to educate the community on various elements in which the committee is involved. This includes, number one, we created a Sustain Abingdon Facebook page. Number two, we have a website at sustainabingdon.com. Number three, we've created a educational rack card on recycling that we handed out at Earth Day. Got some copies here. Typically, that is the biggest question people ask, what can I recycle in Abingdon? So that hopefully will answer that question thoroughly. Number four, we've created a plastic card to attach to the town's residential rolling garbage cans with information on what can be recycled where. So I have to take a look at one of those for free. Those will just be clipped to the trash cans, and that way when people take the trash in and out, they'll have that there in front of them, and hopefully it'll answer their recycling questions. Those cards, by the way, were funded by the DEQ. They gave us a grant for $3,480. Subcommittee, continuing on, they create a pamphlet about Sustain Abingdon and what we actually do. These were handed out at Earth Day, and they're also available at the tourism office. All right, we've also created a variety of flyers for events and advertisement. And then finally, our last subcommittee is the Policy Government Relations Subcommittee. Their purpose is to create, to research, study, and draft policies to submit to the main committee for recommendation to Town Council for adoption. Tasks that they've achieved this year. They've been working with Energy, ENRG, and the Appalachian School of Law to create policies to implement into the sustainability plan. Number two, we're working on creating a tax credit for solar installations and energy-efficient homes and buildings. It's actually something I'm very interested in myself. Number three, working to form an alliance with through the Virginia Municipal League for Sustainable Local Governments. Number four, forming a team to initiate a, quote, Solarize Abingdon, end quote, effort. And this is with the guidance of Roanoke and Blacksburg. Number five, reviewing the review of VML Green Government Challenge to update our standing there. Number six, aid in drafting the, quote, Climate Action Plan for Emory and Henry College's Climate Working Group. Number seven, drafting an energy improvement plan, which also can be worked into the sustainability plan. And also, number eight, long-term goal is to create a sustainability plan, which will be submitted to the Planning Commission for submission into the comprehensive plan. All right, some other tasks we've completed this year. Rick Statzer and Rebecca Moody performed sustainability audits for each town building, essentially looking at how efficient they are and coming up with ideas of how they can change to save energy and money. The committee also recommended the town invest in an energy management service named Facility Dude. This database is the foundation for many projects. The committee can build upon these ideas to create an energy management plan for the town. It calculates things like the carbon footprint. It allows for estimations on how much energy and money is being spent and saved at various facilities. Each department head will have the ability to view this information for their associated facility. The information provided includes usage, expenses, and savings for each of the town's facilities' electric, gas, and water accounts. It also looks at the town's vehicle fleet. So based upon this information, Staff Representative Rebecca Moody has been able to make various changes to work towards lowering the energy usage in town, things like switching out light bulbs and changing out sensors and more energy-efficient thermostats, etc. Okay, something else we did this year, we also initiated an effort to have all the town facilities purchase local goods, essentially from local businesses like Zazzy Z's for local coffee and the Office Place for office supplies. The Sustain Abingdon Committee has representation in the Climate Working Group at Emory and Henry College with President Schrum and other groups, including Keep Southwest Virginia Beautiful. The members of Keep Southwest Virginia Beautiful and their associated local government officials include the town of Abingdon with various representatives. They met with Peyton Johnson and interested members of the group working to locate a single-stream recycling and education center as well as a biofuel facility in nearby St. Paul. Kind of a long phrase, but essentially what that means is that we would have a single, instead of having recycle bins, we put it all into the trash can, the stuff would go there, and then they would actually sort out all the recyclables and compostables and biofuel stuff on site. So that's something that hopefully will become a reality. Keep Southwest Virginia Beautiful also aids in planning and marketing Sustain Abingdon events and vice versa. They collected 73 bags of shoes that were donated to developing countries, and shoe collection continues through this year. Driven by ongoing requests and complaints from town residents, Rebecca Moody organized a trip to Knoxville to visit Rock 10, a recycling firm used by surrounding municipalities in the Tri-Cities area. John Dew, Garrett Jackson, and Rebecca toured the facility. They also met with the mayor of Knoxville and their entire sustainability team in Knoxville. Rock 10 also spoke to us at one of our Sustain Abingdon Committee meetings last year, so we got a good look at what they actually can do. Sustain Abingdon Committee staff person Rebecca Moody has established relationships with her counterparts in Blacksburg and Roanoke. They have regular conference calls to support each other, share ideas. She's also working to initiate a Solarize Abingdon program that's modeled on what happens in Blacksburg and Roanoke in their Solarize programs. Rick Statzer and Rebecca Moody attended a sustainability conference in Richmond. They networked with other municipalities to learn how other places implement the state sustainability measures. They're also working on educating the Sustain Abingdon Committee on those measures. The SAC also aided Rebecca Moody in the creation of the Abingdon local transit routes marketing. Rebecca and Garrett Jackson worked with local companies to create the logo, signage, and marketing materials. And then finally, the committee as a whole also contributed an update to the environmental section of the comprehensive plan as the Planning Commission had their review. So I know that's an awful lot of stuff, but are there any questions?
Well, first of all, we do note it's an awful lot of stuff, and that says a lot in terms of the activity and effectiveness of the committee, and we thank you for starters for your hard work.
Certainly.
I would note that a lot of times, I do get complaints from the public about our sustainability efforts, and that is that we're still not doing as much as the public would like us to do. In general, people have been extremely supportive of our Sustained Abingdon efforts, and very appreciative of the fact that we have curbside recycling and have been real leaders in that. And often I'm asked about recycling in particular. Folks would like to find a home for the glass and that kind of thing, which is a bit of a challenge with today's pricing and so forth.
Yeah.
But I am very proud of the fact that we have been leaders in that, and pleased with the fact that in general the public has been very supportive of our efforts to be good stewards of the resources that we have available for us. And thank you for all your hard work and everything that's been done in that regard. Do others have any comments or questions or anything?
I don't have any questions. I do have a comment. You said that you would be working with the VML for legislation. I'm currently serving on the legislative committee, so if you will include me in any emails you send to them, I'll at least know, what our position is when I attend the meetings.
Okay.
Very good. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you very much. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. All righty. Our next item is consideration of renaming the Board of Architectural Review, and it just slipped away from me there. Renaming the Board of Architectural Review as to be the Historic Preservation Review Board. Mr. Sean Taylor, our Assistant Planner, are you here to talk with us about that, please?
Mr. Mayor and council members, our current review board through the past couple of years went through a process of updating our design review guidelines for the entire historic district. Those, I think, were passed by council our previous year. And through this process, one of the things the review board discussed was they were more than just doing architectural review within the historic district, and their role was actually a lot more important than that. So the idea was to come up with a name that better reflects their purpose, which was Historic Preservation Review Board, because the overall intent is for the historic preservation of the historic district. And so that's what we've been
operating currently as, under that name unofficially, but we'd like to go ahead and officially
All right.
make that name
So
change.
again, it is it is the board's desire to have that change made, to more accurately reflect the comprehensive range of activities that it is responsible for.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we have any questions of Mr. Taylor regarding this? Thoughts about it? Okay. I'll entertain a motion, please.
Mr. Mayor, I would move that we rename the Board of Architecture Review to the Historic Preservation Review Board per that committee's recommendation.
I'd like to second that, since I'm on that committee, and we did really feel like this title more accurately reflected the scope of work.
Very good. And we certainly appreciate the work the committee's done. You know, it's been a process as our town has come to recognize what a significant economic, cultural asset our historic district is to the community, and preserving that and recognizing the contribution that it makes and its potential for helping us to be an even better town in the future is very important. Again, any other comments or questions we might have?
Just one other.
Yes, sir.
And that is that with this theme, I think, comes a tremendous responsibility. And one of them is just not maintaining the properties and the purview that you all have now, but expanding it. And I think as you look forward, that the expansion of that should take place, because it has been years before since that area has been expanded upon.
We have been, for the last 6 months, actively diving into the preservation plan. We are now in the process of the rewrite of that, and we've been taking one item at a time. We've looked at other communities. We've got a speaker coming in this Wednesday that'll be helpful for that.
I'd like to speak a little bit on that.
Okay.
It's preservation by neglect this Wednesday.
Yeah, this Wednesday, I have, coming Wednesday at 5:30 at the stated Historic Preservation Review Board meeting, hopefully, that we're going to have Sonia Ingram, who's the field representative for Preservation Virginia. Her field office is in Danville, and as many of you know, Danville is one of these towns that has been hard hit by the economic decline, especially with the textile industry. And one of those repercussions is that they've had a lot of historic structures that have just not been maintained. And so they've had a lot of demolition by neglect. So she has a lot of firsthand experience with that and has had court cases, I hate to say this, against the town because they've had other redevelopment interests and back and forth. So I think it should be good.
So what you are telling me, I think both of you, that you're looking at more streets and more real estate to put under this? Like maybe Bradley Street and the rest of Main Street and all of Park Street?
Having slightly different designations for other areas so that they're an eye for preservation, and we're identifying those as we speak. We will correlate this to the zoning that's already in effect and make sure that they align, and if not, we will consult with the town and the planning commission to make sure that they do. But yes, we're looking at other areas as areas of interest, preservation.
So you look for those to eventually fall under the, if we do this, the Historic Preservation Review Board, then they would come in front of you to be able to decide what to add or take away.
Well, it would be a process. That's the one thing we can be sure of, that it
when was the last one that was put in? When's the last street?
It would be Depot Square. Yeah, but it is a process. As you look at these sorts of things, it involves certainly that committee and also the planning commission and actions by council and so forth. It's a process.
And something else this board, this current board and the previous board too, have strongly been working on is also becoming a more of an adversarial board than just a decision maker, to where residents of the historic district can come in and seek advice.
Not adversarial.
Yeah.
Not adversarial. Advisory. Yeah.
It sounds like there might be a Freudian slip there.
There is a difference.
Yes, becoming, using,
Preservation plan is in fact to have more community education. So
Mhm.
people know, we'll have a resource guide, so it takes out some of the mystery, where do I go? And just distribution through realtors and other things, so that there is no mystery. You remove some of that
exactly.
potential for adversarialness.
Exactly.
There you go.
That's-
More advisory, less adversarial. Okay.
Advisory.
Yeah, advisory, yeah.
All righty. Okay, any other questions, comments? We have a motion to consider, for our consideration to change the name of the Board of Architectural Review to the Historic Preservation Review Board. I believe we had a second and a motion and a second a little while ago. Any further discussion? Hearing none, if you'll call the roll, please.
Mrs. Deering?
Aye.
Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe?
Aye.
Mayor Morgan?
Aye. All righty, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Our next item is consideration of modification to the sign at the entrance of Virginia Highlands Community College relative to the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator. We have a woman here who wears two hats tonight, and that would be our Vice Mayor, Ms. Kathy Lowe, who is also Director of the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator, in addition to serving on the Legislative Committee of the Virginia Municipal League. Would you care to talk to us about that?
Yes, sir. On a regular basis, I've been at the incubator since September, and on a regular basis, one of the phone calls we get is, where's the incubator? There's no sign. The other problem out there, or opportunity, I should say, is that the beginning of that road where all of those signs are is Virginia Highlands Community College Boulevard. And it doesn't change into French Moore Junior Boulevard until it gets right at the government center. So by the time they get to the government center, they have figured that they've gone as far as they need to go. So we are forever trying to direct traffic out there. It's either somebody calling to try to find us, or the people come into the incubator and want to know where they pay their sewer bill, or we just had this real issue, and it occurred to me that one of the best ways to get your name out there is to have your sign, and we don't have a sign. So, since Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator is an economic development tool that's owned by the town and the county, I feel like it deserves its own sign. However, Stone Mill Business and Technology Park is an integral part of the makeup of that plat of land. So we didn't want to take that out completely. We just wanted to get our name on the sign. I got Jerry Signs to draw up 4 different models. Model A is the one that everyone has chosen. However, I wanted council input as far as, your opinion about that. And if the medical school is granted by the Tobacco Commission, I feel sure they are going to want their own sign, which will be another. I just don't think they're going to want to be on our sign, but we are going to wait because the Tobacco Commission is supposed to meet by September, so we can wait that long. But
well, that action won't be till January.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, then I would like to change the sign now.
Well, then have at it.
Yeah. So, the sign ordinance says that we have to have signs approved, and, because the town owns Stone Mill Business and Technology Park, I felt like it was the town's responsibility to say yes or no, you can change your sign.
Well, I think as I sit here and ponder this, and I haven't really before, but is that considered an entrance court or overlay street, Mr. Kelly? Or
It probably would be, but the sign is something that can be administratively approved.
Okay, well, I know the process normally would be to have it before the Planning Commission if it was on an entrance corridor, but I'm not going to quibble too much about this.
There is a sign already there, so this isn't a new sign. The
Gotcha.
sign currently says Stone Mill Business and Technology
In
Park.
other words, it would go on that.
Right.
Yeah.
There is a sign already there. We're just going to have the faces replaced.
Okay.
You say your group likes number A or letter A.
Uh-huh.
Seems like that's a lot smaller when you're
Yes,
going by there. I mean, I think you'd want something a little larger.
It was, it was a great big debate about that, and I mean, I don't care much for C or D, but, it was a back and forth about whether A, because there was that space in it, made you look at it, or B, gave a better message, so, I mean, I
think there's so many parts on that sign. You'd want it at least a little bit bigger, either B, C, or D, I would think. That's up to you guys.
they can't, they tried to play with the letters, but because there's so many letters in Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator, they either had, our letterhead looks like A. So they either had to do A, B to increase the size of the letter.
Well, so do you need us to make a motion?
I just need your approval to change the sign, and then I will have my board, my board will then have to.
It would be for the council to actually approve it, but it would, I think what Kathy's asking is for the blessing of the council that one of these would be acceptable from the council's perspective.
Right.
So we could say, perhaps entertain a motion to allow them to put a sign up out there?
Allow us to
That'd be
change
sufficient?
the sign.
Yeah, you can make that
Modify
motion,
what's there.
but in terms of the actual design of the sign, that would be something that the planning department or the planning commission should take care
Right.
of.
Yep.
And the only reason I brought it to council is because currently the sign says Stone Mill Business and Technology Park. So,
And realistically, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the sign she's proposing fits the guidelines with what has already been established out there. This would not be anything that would be controversial or out of place for that location. She's simply using the same size and basic format of all the other signs that are out there.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion regarding this, perhaps one that would authorize the Small Business Incubator to set up a sign. Is that appropriate, Mr. Kelly?
You don't have to do anything at this point in time other than just give Kathy a verbal blessing, I think. It doesn't
Well, by
require
golly,
a
I
formal
can
motion.
do nothing with the best of them.
And you do it well, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. It's a learned skill. All right, do I hear any opposition to this? Go in peace to love and serve the Lord. All right, thank you very much. Now, we look forward to seeing that sign out there. Okay, now that brings us to matters that are not on, we have no resolutions. Yeah, I usually do. Okay, that's item number 5. Thank you for getting me on track. Consideration of moving the date for the September work session and regular meetings to Tuesday, September the 2nd, as Monday, September the 1st is a Labor Day holiday. Will September the 2nd work for the council? How about a motion to that effect?
that is my wedding anniversary.
Well,
I may miss that.
Is that a yes or a no?
well, I won't be available on the 3rd, so,
It's,
but anyway.
You do it earlier in the day.
All
yeah,
right.
we could do it,
We
well, I
can do it
guess.
at 5:30 and since we're, well, no, it's the mid-month work session.
I'd say you need to celebrate there on Sunday would be a good plan. Okay, in anticipation.
Or just get sick that day.
There you go, that happens. Okay, is there a motion that we have the meeting on Tuesday, September the 2nd?
I'll so move.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, any further discussion? If you'll call the roll, please.
Mrs. Deering.
Aye.
Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe.
Aye.
Mayor Morgan.
Aye, thank you. All righty, we have no resolutions, matters not on the agenda. Let's see, Mr. Kelly, do you have anything, I don't guess we have anything specifically that you need to address on that. I will ask at the present time if there is anyone from the folks assembled here this evening that have any specific item or concern that they wish to bring to council's consideration. They're welcome to do that at the present time. Okay, I don't see anybody. Council, do we have items that we wish to bring forward at the present time? Mr. Humphries?
Do you want council member reports or just items on the agenda?
I think we could go with both, frankly.
Okay. Well, there's a few things for, just the informational. First of all, the Fairview Committee just held their two of the fundraisers. One was the tractor show and the other was the car show. Anyone that missed the tractor show was held at Fairview, certainly missed a fine event. Literally hundreds and hundreds of people attended that. I would like to say that our town attorney, Deb Eisenhower, town manager, Greg Kelly, clerk, Cecile Rosenbaum, and assistant clerk, Kim Kingsley. And who?
Their intern.
Oh, Owen, I'm sorry, Owen. It's that Morgan name, it's just, it's scaring me. Anyway.
You're leaving out one who I believe is Miss Gibson here, who from the Bristol Herald Courier, who produced some wonderful publicity for the event, and we thank you very much for that. It was very, very good story about it.
I was going to go into the lunch, Mr. Mayor, that you missed, but that's okay.
All right.
No, but anyway, we had many of the staff and administrative people that attended. It was very, very wonderful. And then, just to let you know on the Tractor Club, because there's some things that were going on that I didn't know when I got there, and that is that they're growing all the pumpkins and fodder shock for the town this year. It's going to go on the street display for Halloween. That'll eliminate the cost of that for us. And the hay bales, yes, thank you. The hay bales, which also is a cost driver for us during that time of the year. Also, they're producing corn for the harvest table, special issue of corn. I'm not sure what the variety is.
Bloody Butcher.
I mean, is it Bloody Butcher?
Yes.
So that's an old corn variety then,
yeah.
Bloody Butcher is. And so that will be up at, you'll be able to find that up at the harvest table. And then, that's all about the car show in Fairview. And then the other thing I wanted to mention to have on the record is that during the last meeting, the Works came by to discuss MXI and also Lowry Drive, at the very end of Lowry Drive, and to let them know and to have it on record that all the council members have gone by. We all have looked at that site. We all have seen the progress and will monitor the progress continually to make sure that the MXI are being good neighbors to the Rourke. So that was the last thing I had to say, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Well, very good, sir. And I would have to echo your comments about the tractor show. I would go as far as to say that was a big deal.
Oh.
And I was genuinely impressed with the work that had been done by that committee to put on the event and how well attended it was. And I offer nothing but my heartfelt compliments to them. It's certainly been the niche that we've needed to have to make that facility work there, and I'm very pleased to hear the other things that they're doing out there too.
Thank you, sir. There is in Abingdon, one of the things that works so well for us is our partnerships, and this is a true partnership that we have. There ended up being close to 130 tractors there. There were horse-drawn implements and farm implements. It was just very, very wonderful. And but I would be remiss to say that the car show wasn't equally as impressive. Maybe not quite so, but we had over 73 cars. Mm-hmm. It was on a day that was to produce hail and thunder and lightning, and we had to break up early, and we had an excellent crowd that showed up to view the cars. So it was just the tube events were very nice. But I did forget one other thing I wanted to mention to everybody. Really, the best hot dogs I've ever had. All right. My mom and Dad helped make those hot dogs along with a couple other people. I would never get another hot dog, didn't mention my mom's name. The other thing is that Mr. Morgan, Mayor Morgan, attended the tree commission meeting recently. Of course, as we all know, we had an incident where we had a fatality on Main Street of Abingdon because of a tree, and we are looking at ways to try to explore it further. We have been very diligent in taking care of trees and testing them and trying to make sure that they're resilient and will be there and stand up. And so we are developing a quadrant system. Kevin Sigmund is developing a quadrant system where we can even be more aggressive than we have in the past and be more diligent and try to prevent anything else that might happen. Mayor Morgan is the first council person to be at that meeting, I guess, in quite a while. And so it was very nice to have him there and his input. So.
Well, I was very pleased to, attend that meeting, and we are certainly appreciative of the work that our tree commission has been doing for over the last, since about the year 2000, I guess it was, or that committee was established, and we were very saddened by the unfortunate episode that took place on Main Street, but we are also very proud of the efforts that our town has made to manage our urban forest in a professional way. And we were one of the first communities in this part of the world to have a professional arborist on board to advise us in terms of how to manage this forest. We do have criteria for examining our trees and trying to monitor their condition, and to also make sure that in the future we plant the right tree at the right place. And that's part of the key to success of managing your urban forest. Our town does recognize that our urban forest is an important economic asset to the community, and one that requires that sort of attention to it in terms of the quality that it brings to the life of the community, in terms of, first of all, the aesthetics that it brings, but secondly, helping to clean air, to manage the stormwater issues that every community has, to also help cool the air and so forth. Our trees are an important asset, and we're very proud of what we have done, and very saddened that we had an unfortunate and really unanticipated event that occurred there. And our thoughts and prayers go out to the families that were affected by this, and we are going to do the best that we can in the future to try and minimize these problems, and it's just sad and regrettable. I guess that's all I can say about it, but thank you for noting that.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Vice Mayor Lowe, do you have any comments to make?
Well, while Mr. Humphreys bought lunch for the town staff, Wayne Stevens bought my ice cream.
Fairview there.
At Fairview. Wayne Stevens bought my ice cream, so you should have spent the county's money. But
and that was good ice cream, too.
That was a great event. I was very impressed, and I look forward to what they do. Economic development is alive and well in the town of Abingdon. Kevin Costello and I have met on several occasions. He's still getting his feet wet, and so am I, but the Chamber of Commerce, the Virginia Department of Small Business and Supplier Diversity, and Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator have put together a series of classes that we have titled Noon Knowledge, and our own Kevin Costello is going to be teaching how to research for your business. Tennille Montgomery is going to join with Bristol Herald Courier and teach how to write and distribute a press release. Deb Eisenhower and Deborah Adkins Vance have agreed to participate in the human resource class. We have classes now scheduled through May the 13th to 2015. So we will be publicizing that in the near future. But the town staff has been very helpful and willing to participate and work with the incubator and the Chamber of Commerce and Virginia Department of Business to help give educational classes for our small businesses in the area. And so I want to say thank you.
Rodney, thank you. We've heard good and exciting things about the events at the incubator these days, and thank you for all your hard work there.
We have a meeting with Jake Schwarm next week, and I just wanted
President of Emory and Henry College.
The president of Emory and Henry College, and he wants Emory to be more active in economic development in the community. So I have a meeting with him next Tuesday. And just as a side note, and I'm sorry that the Sustain Abingdon people are gone, but he said that he'd been working with the office place. He said something about the office place?
Yes.
Jim Barnes made an announcement that he wanted the incubator to help him get the word out, that he will match or beat anybody's prices. So, that's really good to know.
Yes, it is.
So that's all.
All righty. Thank you very much, Mr. Howard.
I don't think I have anything except that Rick and I will be attending a conference in this month to try to be certified planning commission members.
Absolutely.
In Roanoke.
Very good, sir.
That's all I have.
I'm pleased to hear that. It's very helpful.
I think we have another person going with us too, or is there three of us? Yeah, Mr. Shazer, I think, is going with us
All
too.
right, very
so,
good.
yeah.
Okay.
And Jenny Carlisle.
Oh, Jenny, I've got with us four of us.
Okay. Ms. During.
I cannot unfortunately attend that as I have to work. However, I did have the opportunity in July to attend with Ms. Rosenbaum and Mr. Kelly a newly elected officials conference that went over the course of about 3 days and was very helpful, and I appreciate that opportunity and plan to attend some others. Got to meet out the vacation as I can.
Very good. Thank you. I would just make one brief comment that although I try to confine my spending on meals and so forth to the town of Abingdon, my wife and I Saturday, a week ago, made a excursion to our sister city, Glade Spring, and had a peek up there about some of the things that were happening in the town of Glade Spring. And I have to offer my real compliments to their mayor, their council, and the citizens of Glade Spring regarding the progress and wonderful changes they've made in their downtown. They had a very lively farmers market there that particular Saturday. There were shops in their downtown that were open, and an interesting collection of artists' studios that were there in the downtown. We had a couple of hot dogs from the Political Dog that Mayor Coburn operates, and Glade Spring struck me as a really place that was up and coming. It had been, as we know, Glade Spring had struggled in a mighty way over many years, but I was very impressed with the progress that they were making there in that community, and I'm pleased to be able to report that here. And Council, I have no other comment that I need to make at the present time. Anybody else? Mr. Kelly, Ms. Eisenhower?
I know you said they had the Political Dog, the hot dog thing up there. Did they have a Mayor Morgan dog?
No, they didn't, but he invites everybody who's run for office in this part of the world to bring one of their signs up there to mount on the wall. I think he had a Low for Town Council sign up there, and I aim to have one of the Morgan signs permanently preserved on the wall up there, and he promises to try and not have anybody throw mustard at it. So
Well, I wasn't sure. I heard they had a half beef, half ham.
Yes,
hot
they did.
dog.
Mr. Moore.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Moore.
Him too.
Yeah, we're starting to look alike after all these years.
We're going way back.
Yeah.
Some of the staff and I also were up there at the restaurant as well, and one thing I would point out, in addition to the wonderful food, and I was there the same day that you were there at the farmers market, but our paths never crossed. But in the Political Dog place, there is an actual signed document by Thomas Jefferson that hangs on the wall. So it's worth a trip up there just to go and see that old preserved document.
And they're pretty good hot dogs, too.
Yeah.
You know, no
Foyer
denying.
fries are good also.
All right.
Foyer fries?
Yeah.
But you can't talk about it.
Sure.
I hate to get those recalled on me, wouldn't you?
All right, very good. Okay, anybody got anything else? We have several appointments that we need to consider this evening. We have appointments to the Abingdon Redevelopment and Housing Authority Board, also to the Tourism Advisory Committee. Council, do we need to go into executive session for this, or what's your pleasure on this?
Do we have applications for all these?
I believe we do.
You have one for Abingdon Redevelopment and Housing Authority, and you have 3 for the Tourism Advisory Committee.
Any for
Plus-
Hollywood?
Well, that's
Well,
a
the Hartford
different
one
animal.
is kind of a different deal.
Well, I understand, but I thought that they might have sent one in from their staff.
They did.
They did.
They
Okay.
did, yeah.
Okay.
And if you do want to go into, it's 2.2-3711A1 for the purpose of discussing tourism and Abingdon Redevelopment and Housing. 2.2-3711A1.
2.
I bet she can remember.
Yeah, I move that we go into executive session for section 2.2-3711
Okay. Is
for the
it,
purpose of appointing.
Second.
all right. Okay.
Appointing.
Yeah, we're going to,
Appointees.
for the purpose of making appointments to the Tourism Advisory Commission and the Housing Authority. And is there any further discussion? We have a second? Okay. If you'll call the roll, please.
Mrs. Deering?
Aye.
Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Mr. Humphries?
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe?
Aye.
Mayor Morgan?
Aye. Thank you. Okay, Council, do you think we could just slip right in there without having any side trips? Okay, thank you very much. If you get bored and want to go home, we'll understand.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to go back into into regular session, excuse me.
I'll make it for a motion.
All right, Ms. During, I'll bet you'll second
I
it.
will second it.
Okay, if you'll call the roll, please.
Bob and Jane. More fun with Bob and Jane.
Yeah, fun with Dick and Jane. Okay, we have a motion and a second to go back into regular session. If you'll call the roll, please.
Mrs. Deering?
Here. Aye.
That too.
Mr. Howard? Mr. Humphries?
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe?
Aye.
And Mayor Morgan?
Aye, thank you. And if you'll read the appropriate certification, please.
I will. Whereas the council of the town of Abingdon has convened in a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions set forth in the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas Section 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia, 1950 as amended, requires a certification by the town council that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. And now therefore be it resolved that the council of the town of Abingdon, Virginia hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from an open meeting requirement by Virginia law were discussed in closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and I'm being attacked by a fly. And only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the town council. And if you are in agreement, please respond with "I so certify."
Feel free.
Go, Jane.
I so certify.
I so certify.
I so certify.
I so certify.
Aye. So certify.
Okay, I feel very certified at this point in the scheme of things. Council, we have, first of all, 2 appointments to the Tourism Advisory Commission. What is your pleasure regarding these appointments?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we appoint Becky Nave and Joel Jenkins. Joel Jerkins. We had several great applicants, but Mr. Jerkins was the only restaurant applicant who lives in the town limits.
Okay, and then I believe Ms. Nave would be, in essence, representing the Heartwood program?
Cultural Heritage
Cultural
Foundation.
Heritage Foundation, excuse me. Thank you very much. Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Ms. Rosenbaum, please.
Mrs. Deering?
Aye.
Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Mr. Humphries?
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe?
Aye.
Mayor Morgan?
Aye. Thank you. We also had an appointment to fill the unexpired term of Ms. Rosie Jones, who has resigned her seat on the Abingdon Redevelopment and Housing Authority Board, and it appeared to be the consensus of the council that we would table that for until our September meeting.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, do you need a motion on that?
I don't know that we do.
Okay.
Okay?
And Mr. Mayor, again, just for the record, the one applicant that we had does not live within the town limits.
Okay. So at the present time, we feel it appropriate to re-advertise that position. Okay. Let's see. Any other comments or issues that we need to bring forward this evening? I would note that there are many events that are scheduled here and listed on there. They're very exciting, but since I think we have nothing but town staff here and one faithful spouse, or two faithful spouses this evening, and they're pretty up to speed on this, I'll not feel the need to list them all. I will mention that I have a meeting scheduled for Thursday, Thursday this week at 4 o'clock to meet with representatives of the Virginia Game and Commission, Fish Commission,
Yes.
and other interested parties to explore the reintroduction of trout to Wolf Creek at the muster grounds, and I'll be happy to report to you about that in the very near future.
Here, here.
All righty.
August 16th at 7 p.m. is the mural dedication.
And be there.
Reminder.
All right, that bureau looks good. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I have that listed on my calendar for Wednesday, August the 6th, the trout meeting.
If you folks will get me straight on that, I'd appreciate it.
You know when it is, Kevin, do you have it?
It's Wednesday.
You know, and I may even have it as Wednesday on my calendar. Let me just look here. I've got the blind staggers at this point. And, you know, I actually have it for Wednesday the 6th as well. So, all right, thank you. I do plan to be there. Very good. Anybody else got anything?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd
Yes,
like
ma'am.
to brag on my son, if I might.
You
Just
may.
real quickly, we were at the beach last week, and he captured and pulled in onto the pier, the first one of the year, a 32-pound king mackerel.
Whoa.
And as he pulled it out of the water, a shark bit this much of its tail off. But he made the Topsail newspaper, so I just wanted to mention.
Well, congratulations. Well, we're pleased.
In the vein of trout and shark. He had his own shark.
Well, and that only adds to the charm and excitement of the story.
And also Shark Week.
That's right.
Absolutely. Well, very good. Well, thank you, folks. We are adjourned. Well, you probably left it on a book in the women's room over at the Harvard Market.
So excited.